Standing by, guys, here for 2 minutes. See how many people we can get to join. So if you want to check this out, go ahead and skip 2 minutes into the future, and that's where we will start this live stream. Alright, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Not too many people on the stream right now, but I know some of you will probably watch this and see what's going on. For those of you that checked out the stream last night, yes, I finally have the Foxeer Predator Micro installed back into the Proton Skeleton 5.5 here. The OSD and remote and everything that comes with this is horrible. It runs so slow. The buttons that say that they go up, don't go up, they don't go down. Every time you reset the camera, the orientation of those buttons will change. So basically what you need to do is just kind of have some patience and don't do it on a live stream like I did, or you'll drive yourself completely crazy. So I hate it when things go bad, but besides that, I do caution everybody that the wiring colors, which, you know, you can say it's a rookie mistake, even though I'm definitely not a rookie when it comes to building or anything, but we're just kind of take things for granted now that when you buy a camera from Foxeer or Runcam, that your yellow, black, and red wires actually match up to what the connector inside the camera actually are. Video, ground, 5-volt, everything like that. Mine did not, so I did have to swap a couple of those around, so make sure you keep an eye on that. And then as far as the video settings that I'm going to use whenever I get a chance to fly this, I am actually going to be running, let's see here, actually going to be running the settings from Oscar Liang. I kind of looked at some other people's settings and I watched his videos and think this looks good. It also took the less amount of fiddling around with that OSD, which again was a complete pain in the rear. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get the Proton off of the bench here and talk about what we are here to talk about, and that is going to be Reverb. So if you're familiar with my channel, you're a subscriber, cool. If not, consider subscribing. This is Reverb number 1, and I've never owned a real alien. I only owned a Martian, and I jumped at the chance to get on the new Reverb because of the size and the weight, being down a little bit, and just to become a little bit better of a freestyle pilot and doing mid-range type of stuff with it. Running TBS Crossfire, multi-copter builder, 2207 motors, which are totally awesome. These are the 2450s. Bardwell flight controller, Speedix 30 amp HV ESCs. Great build, great kit. Just the quality and the just stoutness and how, like, just, I don't know, just how it feels in your hands is great. But there's always a few things that you'd like to change, and I'm going to do that on Reverb 2, just mostly with the layout of the components. I'm not changing components at all because my whole goal this year is to standardize and fly the same things. So I had basically a choice. I was going to try to practice with that Martian with like a B fight and everything and try to do this, but banging those up, the Martian doesn't fly anywhere close to this. It has old stuff on it, and flying the B fight just, is totally different because there's no GoPro or anything. So I figured I would just go ahead and sell some stuff and build another Reverb. So I've got everything I need. Just waiting on motors, but Old Man Winter's coming back, and there's going to be lots of snow coming up. So we'll be able to stretch this build out for a while. Take a lot of questions and comments and maybe revisit some areas and some things. But all the components are going to be the same, except for the ESCs are going to be BL Heli 32 Speedix ESCs. I definitely am a believer in the 32-bit ESCs after putting them on my 6-inch Eric Canasti Cougar frame. They just run in D-Shot 1200. To me, I definitely felt a difference even on a 6-inch. So I'll be happy to put those on a 5-inch frame like this that flies very precise. And yeah, that's it. Now the reason why those are a lot of the reasons why I decided to build a second Reverb. The 5.5-inch Proton I absolutely love, and this is my mid-range, long-range type of rig. With 5.5 inches and 5S or a bigger 4S, I'm getting long flight times. I get great performance, same motor, same flight controller, everything like that, same ESCs. So standardized equipment, just a different frame. But it flies a lot different than this. So I see myself not, hopefully, not crashing that one as much because it's definitely more of just a long-range cruiser with a little bit of freestyle mixed in. These I want to really work on taking my flight skills this year to the next level. I honestly have wasted probably the last 6 to 7 months of my FPV life just trying to get the smoothest GoPro footage that I can, because that's really what I am all about, especially with like the long range and the medium range type of stuff. And my progression as far as freestyle flying definitely took a backseat to coming into the house after every battery pack to examine GoPro footage. It's a lot more challenging to tune your vehicle for great flight characteristics and great GoPro footage than it is to just tune for a great flight. So that's another reason why I want to build a consistency, is because I already know how the tune is going to work on this thing. So the frame and everything is right here. It's actually drying, parts are drying off a little bit. I've already sanded the edges down on a couple of them. These come really good, and they come with files. You really don't even need to do a whole lot of work to them if you don't want to. But I figured, what the heck, I might as well. It just makes you kind of feel better to give them a little softer of an edge, but nothing too crazy. There are going to be a couple different 3D printed parts that I want to try out that I have coming. I went with, instead of the original Reverb mount, I went with the Innovative Layers one. Not really for any particular reason other than I think Race Day Quads didn't have a 40 degree in stock, and I wanted to try out the SMA connector. They have an like an SMA mount that'll slip over the standoffs here, and that was one of the big problems I kind of had as far as like trying to figure out like where to put my Unify and run the wires and crossfire and everything. Right now the Unify is underneath the Bardwell flight controller, and you know, the antenna that kind of comes up and everything. The antenna itself is zip tied to the top plate like a lot of people usually do with these type of builds. But I don't want I hate having things tied to the top plate, and this will allow me to get the antenna back out even further from the frame, so that way I could get hopefully better video performance out of it at range. Within 1 to 1.5 kilometers, you know, my video is fine in my environment, but when I push it out anything further, it gets a little bad. And then on the return trip coming back to me, you can see that that antenna is totally blocked. So I definitely want to try to get that out and up a little bit more, so that way in flight it will be hopefully to about, you know, like right there. So gain me a couple inches, and that should hopefully help out on my DB. And I also just want to kind of rework the crossfire. I don't want to use the L pattern, I don't think, because then I'll have to tie and zip tie and everything to the standoffs here like I have in this one. I'm probably going to go with my trusty Immortal T configuration like that right there, probably on the back, because I think having the Immortal T on the back legs, I'm assuming if I'm going to crash doing things, even though I do plan on flying and practicing a lot of backwards, you know, flying movements and everything, I would assume that I'm going to crash forward on a lot of stuff. And these things are quite flexible, as you can see, but I don't want to hit it in like a certain area that would rip off the wire in my UFL. So I'm able to kind of stretch it and get it nice and straight and secured in the Proton, but inside the Reverb it's a little difficult. So I think I'm going to actually, if we take a look at a crossfire receiver here, I think I am actually going to, it'll be wired in pretty much like this, and then I should be able to get the SMA or the actual Immortal T out to there pretty good like that, with just putting a little bit of an angle in whenever I put the Immortal T on. And then I need to get some I'll probably use hot glue, even though I know hot glue will heat up and it will loosen up, but I don't want to really RTV silicone it, because with like the black RTV silicone that comes on like the Unifies and stuff, you know, you really have to like work hard to pick it off and everything. And if you do that, then you end up with something like that where you break your UFL and you have to go ahead and try to replace it somehow, which is not fun. And I have a wire that's hiding, that's in the way here. Fix that. Alright, I think that's better. So anyway, then the other reason why I wanted to just stick with the Reverb is parts availability. There's a lot more stuff available for this. The Proton is like a super popular racing frame for right now, and I think that you know, I know I talked to Mike actually at Flight Club this week, and he said he had a lot more parts coming in for it. but I just kind of want to stick with what people know, you know, and I think there's going to be a lot, obviously, as gear changes and everything like that. And I think about maybe trying KISS someday, even though I still want to keep everything standardized and not go crazy with nothing. I think there'll be a lot more support and people out there that would be able to help me along the way in my journey, even though I still love this and I would like to build a second one at some point when the budget and everything kind of allows it. So I could sell off some stuff from my 6-inch, but just having a 6-inch is just too dang fun. I've built and rebuilt this thing like 5 times already, and I just don't want to do it again. So it flies great. T-Motor F80, 2200 kVs on there, Crossfire, Bardwell. No, this has Seal Racing F4, which is all jacked up. It's kind of locked up, flies and everything like that, but it's really weird. So at some point I am going to have to pull that out and replace that and send that back to CL Racing for a replacement or repair or something like that. So let's see what's going on with the chat. Chris FPV, are you getting excessive vibes through the Reverb GoPro mount? Seems it's hard mounting is causing vibes on my Reverb. My biggest problem with the Reverb GoPro mount is that the thing is so damn, the tolerance is so tight that I can't even get the actual GoPro in and out of here all the time. I've left it in there and kind of stretched it out overnight over each side and everything else. But I think tuning is the big thing with the Reverb. I definitely would take a look at how everything is tuned up and working. I can give you, if you want to hang on a second here, I'll let you take a look at my PIDs, which they're not. I mean, if you look, I don't know if you subscribe or look at my channel or not, Chris, but if you take a look at like my Reverb video, it's pretty damn smooth. I've worked really hard on tuning it, and it actually wasn't too hard to tune once I just kind of went back to basics and looked at, okay, what kind of frame am I flying here, and what should everything kind of look like. So let me pull up Betaflight here. And we'll plug in and take a look at it. This is where I wish I had 2 monitors, because I'm going to have to keep on clicking back and forth between me and you and everything. So we'll go over the setup real quick. Everything is, you know, CRSF, AKAK, no accelerometer, dynamic filter is on, anti-gravity is on. These are running D-Shot 600. I'm just talking all this stuff because I know it all by heart before I plug in here. So plug in the flight controller. Let me crap. One second here. The audio might get crazy here for a second. Alright, so had to get rid of the overhead cam since we're not going to be using it actually, so for right now. So let's switch back to this and we'll just talk about beta flight and the PIDs. So what I have found with pretty much a lot of the quads now is that it's really hard to push P to like the crazy levels that we used to, especially if you're tuning for smooth video. So what I found is that I've had to go with a little bit lower P values, and since this is close to an X but not a true X, the spread between them needs to be, you know, within about 10%, 10-12%, so pretty close. D gains are kind of, I think, you know, you can just basically play with your D until you're happy with it. It's really the P is what's going to get rid of those oscillations, but you can't put too much D in there or it's going to create oscillations. So I make up for my stick feel by not having as much P by increasing my eyes and my anti-gravity. You know, if the anti-gravity at 4, that's kind of alright. I could probably put a little bit more on that if I wanted to. But you can see that I have my TPA on here at 0.28, which I still need plenty. That means I got plenty of P going on all axes if I'm getting oscillations whenever I punch out. So that's just basically saying something's too high anyway. So technically these even might be a little too high, which is why I had to add a little bit more of the D gain. Filters, I used to run Kalman on this, but I flashed this back to 3.2.3, and basically the reason is it's like development product and alpha, and I don't want stuff breaking because I just don't have the money to replace all this crap anymore. You know, I'm trying to be frugal with this hobby for once in my life and not be a nut. So I've been playing around. Now that I can get good video, now the next time I get to go out and fly a bunch, I am going to work on improving stick feel even more. I've already started by changing my rates a little bit and my expo. I think my expo is a little too high because I felt a little disconnected from the quad compared to having 0 expo, which is what I usually fly out. So I would have 1 of an RC rate, 0.75, and 0. So I turned up my super rate and I turned up the expo to change the curve a little bit. So I'm going to play around with these, and most importantly, I'm going to play with set point weight and set point transition, because these two values right here definitely is what gives you all of that stick feel that you want. They also will affect your D gain and tune a little bit, because it's either going to it's either going to have your D terms follow the gyro or follow the actual PID loop, which is what this right here says. And you have to have at least a value of 1 to have it turned on. So now above 1, it's going to be following the PID loop, I believe, and not the gyro. Let's see, if I have 0, yeah. If you see right here, a value of 0 means that it's going to only track the gyro, where 1 means that it will track the gyro and stick tracking ratio, which basically means the PID loop, I believe. I've seen so many people explain this differently. It's just crazy. The only thing I can say is that I usually end up between like 1.1 and 1.3, and then I kind of scale that back and run this anywhere between like 0.4 and like 0.6. So, but it's all arbitrary, and definitely turn on VBAC compensation. That really helps out a lot now. A lot. So I highly recommend that. So that's pretty much the PIDs that I'm running right now. And how I tune PIDs is I just kind of start with something that I know would work, which is not stock, because we all know stock doesn't work. So if I was doing an actual true X where there was super mass all in the middle like a pod, I would put these things at like within 5 points of each other, maybe even within like 3 points. This is spread out a little bit more, so 10 points. And then like your squished X where you have so much more weight on the pitch access, like my 6-inch over there, I actually have like a 20-point spread between these. Like I think I'm running at like 55 and 45 or something like that. Or I'm sorry, 65 and 45. Y'all pretty much is preference, but definitely try doing it this way. I think that's helped me achieve things was cranking my eyes up to kind of overcome the feel that you get when you turn up your P's without getting the bad results. If that makes sense. I hope that does, and I hope you're still watching. So, because I thought that was maybe one of the best explanations I might have ever given on tuning. So, that works for me. I mean, proof's in the pudding, man. It's video. A lot of people post videos, and I shoot everything at 1080p. I GoPro flat, like not hiding anything at all. I upload everything at 4K in YouTube, so that way I can get as much bit rate as possible. The only problem is that if you're not watching on a higher end screen that's capable of keeping up with like 60 frame per second video, then you're going to see like different wobbles and transitions from like the super view because it just can't keep up with it. So what's up, Wes, Mr. Tiny Whoop? Are you going to Colorado, man, to go hound those guys? I saw your Facebook post. So Joe, you put more heat shrink on both ends of the antenna. Yeah. See, I've never actually had an Immortal T break. What happens with my Immortal T's is they just kind of like start, I don't know, they kind of like start to fall apart. Which I think we had this discussion last night. We were talking about them. So, basically what happens is like the little nubbins start falling off and everything, and things just kind of get crazy. So, Tiny Whoop Invitationals, huh? Dude, that's awesome. I'm pumped that you're going out there, man. That's like a dream come true for you. So I'm kind of waiting on my webcam to kick back in here. What's going on? Might have to go into the old YouTuber here. So the heat shrinking does protect that, huh? Man, you got the fastest lap, huh? Wow. That's awesome, dude. I don't know, that stupid webcam is like froze up. I don't know what's going on here. Everything's just kind of falling apart. Unofficial for a few weeks, huh? Nah. It's locked up. It's not doing anything. I can't see any movement on OBS. It's not not recognizing it right now. When I started plugging and unplugging things, so I probably need to like start it over or something like that. Which isn't a big deal. I just kind of wanted to do like a little preview thing. Why have I been skipping race nights? Yeah, I saw that you were down there. Yeah, I went to settings on here and video, output, general, video. Oh, I guess I just needed to like reselect it. There we go. That's working now. I'll put the main attraction back out there now. Cool. It's why you're the computer genius, man, and I'm just the medical equipment network engineer. You young kids these days, I tell you. Wes, have you seen... I know you've had to have seen my videos of this. This thing is an animal. A 2-inch animal. It's so damn fun to fly. I can't believe how close it is to flying a 5-inch. It's really unbelievable. It's going to be perfect to fly out at the field this year when everybody's out there flying and we don't want like any of our stuff to die. No, what was the service bulletin? The ESC touches the frame, huh? Well, I'm not going to lie, it's pretty close. So in a crash, that's probably going to happen. See, it's got those soft mounts there, but I leave my screws pretty loose because it came like that. I assume that it's supposed to be like that, because if you tighten those screws up a lot, then it just compresses everything down a little bit further. Sweet, man. I appreciate it. I still need to work on this 3D printer and get it printing TPU. I've had that like super smooth tubing and that SainSmart TPU for a month now, and haven't even got to messing around with it. But why haven't I been there on Sunday nights? I don't know. I guess because I'm too lazy. I've been doing too much of this stuff. I get up real early and like get built and get charged and stuff, and if I'm able to fly, then I pretty much fly like all day, and then I try to take like a little nap or something before the girl gets home from work for the evening. I have no excuses. So when's the invitational? Yeah, they race 5 inches and stuff inside that warehouse. That's too rich for my blood, man. I'll stick with my one annual race at FPV Fest. Well, if you need somebody to like get in your way or something like that to like practice, I'm your guy. Oh, they're running 2 and 2.5 inch in there now, huh? Ooh, that sounds fun. Those guys are probably running all kinds of crazy setups and stuff. Where at in Columbus is that at? Is that like all the way down on like the east side? Yeah, it's a long drive. That's a long drive to drive home pissed off after I break the only 2 inch that I have. Sucks though about that service bulletin though. I guess I could see that happening if you crash it. I mean, there definitely is not much room. There's like a millimeter and a half between like, there's like a fet like right there on that side. Well, there's things all over actually. The power leads and stuff. And there really isn't much room there. Yeah, I'll probably need you to print me one, man. I'd rather go ahead and get it put in without like breaking it. I'll have to like go on Emax's website or go somewhere and find out where they're actually talking about what to do. See if you need to like add any bigger screws or anything like that. There's plenty of thread left on these to put something in between there. But I definitely have to be careful because I don't want to mess up the soft mounting because that's the key to getting the vibrations out of this flight controller. Cool. Well, I'm going to jump off the stream here, guys, because this was supposed to be about the Reverb, and we talked a lot about it and went off topic a little bit. So I'm going to start building this thing up tomorrow night and keep things a little bit more focused, take questions and all that kind of stuff. So I'll be on all weekend. So keep an eye out on the channel, all that stuff. I've got some videos, I think, from last weekend that I want to post too. And all that cool stuff. So I will talk to you guys later. Wes, hit me up, man.